Welcome back to Ran-DomU University, where we are about as close to 1,000 subscribers as my Tennessee Titans were to scoring a touchdown to tie that damn Super Bowl. But nonetheless, let's get there. Let's actually cross the line this time. I really can't take any more pain like that. So let's get there. I can't imagine actually falling short. So if you were able to help you guys, click that button below. It would mean a whole hell of a lot. But diving into today's video, we're going to talk about the Angry Man and his experience at the Hilton. As a person who's worked in hospitality for over a decade, I was greatly interested in this conversation, or in this story that he had basically about his experience at a Charlotte Hilton where he thought he experienced racism. Anytime there's claims of something like that goes on in hospitality, I get very interested, as I currently work in hotels. And as somebody who considers themselves the GOAT of hospitality, I take great pride in understanding what the hell happened. So I want to find out if he's full of shit or the story's legit. Let's find out. Now, I personally do want to say that I've gotten to meet Angry Man on another live stream before. It was on LTTV, who also has another great channel. So please feel free to subscribe to LTTV and also the Angry Man. Even if you don't like his takes, I don't even care for most of his takes sometimes, but he's a great guy, so I subscribe to his channel. Even though the conversation we had on that platform was not very kosher, it was very rough, and it got really bad. It was really, the energy there was kind of chaotic, but it was exciting and fun to be there for me as a witness. It was fantastic. Angela Knight was truly in her bag that night. Also, feel free to subscribe to her channel too, even though I think she's starting to pivot some of her content, which is great. Sort of like here, I'm pivoting some of my content. But nonetheless, let's get into the video. I just wanted to let people know that Angry Man is a good guy, so feel free to subscribe to his channel. I hope he watches this video so he can understand exactly where he might be able to make, I guess, some more or less a swift decision on what he wants to do with his actions going forward, as far as how to, I guess, combat Hilton. How about that?
You got the digital key, which means you don't even have to go to the front desk. You could just go straight up to your room and unlock the door with your digital key and all of that good stuff, right? So
it truly is a great feature. I was there when they were actually starting to implement that policy, and then I left for the Hyatt.
First and foremost, we pull up to the hotel and we pull up to the valet spot for the valet to come out and get the car. Nobody comes out.
Unfortunately, I have seen this a lot. Plenty.
I'm sitting there legit waiting, right? So I think I see somebody, like when you pull up to that hotel, you can see the valet desk, right? And I think I saw somebody in the valet seat, right? It's this, young black girl, right? So I get up, I go in there, I'm like, yo, you valet? And she's like, yeah. Like, yo, I'm sitting out here waiting. She's like, oh, I was looking at the computer screen. Well, that's not really, you may have been looking at the computer screen for some other purposes, but your main job is to be paying attention to the cars pulling up. I would imagine that's the reason why that desk is sitting right there in front of that big window, so that you can see the cars pull up.
Now, he's right. Her main job is to focus on the cars. Usually on those iPads or those computers that they have out front, there's really nothing but the other list of vehicles that they have, which if they're standing at the stand, then they're not actively doing anything besides waiting for cars. Valet's process is very simple. They sit there, wait for car, grab key, collect ticket, give you a ticket, take your car, go park it, come back, wait for another person. That's it.
And come out there with a cart to get the luggage and help them with their car or whatever, right? So already we got an issue. Something that don't normally happen at that hotel, right?
Now, personally, I don't like the thought or the words of saying we have an issue already. It's more or less, this was a bottleneck, as they would like to say in business. This was just a situation where somebody was being not good as an employee. Lazy, terrible. Nonetheless, it's not quite an issue yet.
So I'm looking at my phone and says my digital key, something's wrong with my digital key. I got to go to the front desk, right? So I go to the front desk and I walk up to the front desk, and there is a white guy, older white guy by the name of Leslie.
Now, Leslie definitely is an old school name. I've seen black dudes named Leslie too. Leslie Frazier. Duh. I was about to say there's another Leslie out there. It's definitely an older name. I haven't known of a younger man named Leslie. I don't know a person my name or my age and below with the name Leslie. Not one guy. Know plenty of females named Leslie, but I'm not going to judge. I know of men named Ashley and they cool as hell. Doesn't mean anything. You can't help what your name is. But nonetheless, it does happen sometimes where your digital key just craps out. Like when they were first implementing this policy, it never worked. Like the digital key was always crapping out. You always had to go to the front desk and get something figured out because you get to your room and the thing would just click, 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 click. Nothing would work. So you would just have to go get help.
That's right, Leslie. I'm putting you on blast. And I know a lot of people from that hotel watch my show. The reason why I know is because it doesn't matter how many times I go to that hotel. There's always people that spot me in that hotel and they're like, oh, yo, what's going on, Angry Man? In fact, the night manager, always salutes me when I come over there, right?
Which, as the night manager at the current hotel that I am at now, I completely understand what he's talking about. So it would be sort of like if I ran into LTTV or somebody like that and they walked into the hotel and I'd be like, dang dog, I see you all the time on YouTube. Like I wouldn't tell them that, but it's like, it happens. I mean, I seen Stefan Speaks one time in my hotel and it was like, I've seen quite a few of your videos. Not like I watch them religiously, but it's like, I do know your face. Like he popped out, like his dreads and everything was still the same. So it was like, hey, normal guy. And he was really nice, just like the videos. Stefan Speaks, nice dude. But one thing he also was talking about was Leslie. Leslie, yeah, if the other people at that hotel watch his videos, oh boy, you're not gonna be able to work there anymore. Like those people are gonna be talking shit about you 24/7. And the thing is, since he's an older guy, it's probably one of those things that doesn't really matter. He probably don't even care that his staff already talks, crap about him because they probably already do that anyway because he's already probably a douche. But I don't know that yet. Let's wait and see what else he says. But I'm just saying, as the night manager, you usually have a lot of time in that hotel to listen to some podcasts. You're going to be there for like 8 to 10 hours. For me, I'm there from 10 to 11 hours. So that's why it's hard to get these videos out sometimes. But nonetheless, you have plenty of time to listen to some podcasts and get caught up on some interesting content and news.
So I don't know what it is about Charlotte. I'm always recognized in Charlotte.
Maybe because you're black, Angry Man. I don't know. I don't know. It is a lot of black people in Charlotte, but nobody has a red beard like you, though. Just saying.
And just so you know, I'm going to chop this up. I'm going to take this portion of the show out and I'm going to make a short video and I'm going to @ Hilton because I'm telling you right now, I am going to talk to my lawyer about suing the crap out of Hilton.
Now, even though I've already seen this video one time, I kind of already forgot exactly what happened. So let's keep going back through this.
So I walk up to the counter already annoyed because of the valet situation. So even though I was annoyed, I didn't have an attitude or anything. I just was very matter of fact. So I walk up to the thing and Leslie says to me, last name.
Now, usually, you know how the spiel goes. In hospitality, pretty much any guest or customer or member or whatever you're dealing with is always thinking that they're approaching the customer service agent with great poise and under great composure, where they're always being highly respectful, and in most cases they're absolutely not. But knowing Angry Man and seeing how he is under fire, even though he can be getting yelled at, I believe him. So I definitely believe that he was being calm in the situation. And that response that he said about Leslie, I've heard it in that same tone a million times in hospitality, and I got a feeling it was going to go off the rails real quickly then.
So I give him my last name, right? He's like, I need an ID, right?
Which is standard hotel protocol. But in some cases, yes, if you actually really know the individual, you're probably going to be like, all right, man, I see that you have your reservation here. Where's your card?
And so I said to him, look, the last time I came here, I didn't have to go through all of this. I'm a Hilton Honors member, and I think one of the privileges of having that app.
I ain't gonna lie. Anytime you hear somebody when you're working, especially when I was at Hilton, and they say, I am a Hilton Honors member. Not that he said it that way, but usually you get it in so many different ways. And it's like, look, you got a free membership that just because you stayed here a whole bunch, you upgraded and now you're gold. Like, you didn't invest anything into this. So let's stop acting like you got special privileges or you done did something great for us. You know what I'm saying? Like, thank you for investing your money. That helps. But don't throw this I am a member thing at us. That shit will piss you off more than anything. Only thing it makes you want to do is just throw hot coffee on them. That's it. It doesn't make you want to help them, but you do need to help them. It is your job.
Is the fact that I can check in before I get here. I get my digital key and I can go up to the room. I was like, why is my digital key not working? Right? This arrogant dude had the nerve to say, oh, well, I think the problem with your key is that your card declined.
Now, I don't know Leslie, ain't seen Leslie, never met Leslie, never will meet Leslie, but I got this weird feeling that with a name like Leslie, he said this with some type of attitude.
Now, keep in mind, he's in the hospitality business. He's not supposed to say that out loud, but he said it out loud for everybody to hear.
It's not really you're not supposed to. It's not illegal. It's not wrong, but it's not good practice. It's not something that I'd recommend you do. First of all, it's already going to set the tone for the conversation to shit. Like, it's going to throw it right down the gutter. Now you're going to immediately trigger the other person by basically trying to say that, hey, you broke, in front of everyone, which is embarrassing. And knowing, hey, I don't think Angry Man is broke. So that's one of those things that would piss you off if somebody's trying to call you out like that. And people do in hospitality, you get that attitude sometimes when it's like, oh, your card didn't work. Well, sometimes it's because most people don't have money. That's why it didn't work. Now, you shouldn't judge everybody on this because of that, but pretty much every time when that happens, it's because they ain't got shit.
Which I later found out was a lie, right? So I asked him, I said, so you guys are charging for the whole stay up front? No, but it does hold a certain amount.
Which is usually just the incidentals, which is going to be on the reservation. It's going to add up the number per day that you're going to have on there, and it's going to add it on to the total of usually your first day deposit. So the amount that you pay is kind of an odd number that you weren't expecting. But sometimes some reservations, based on like the rate that you choose, you do have to pay all of it up front. But that's probably not what the case was here. It's probably something else funny going on with the system. Sometimes it just glitches. Sometimes, for whatever reason, cars don't process. Sometimes when people come in from out of town, the cars just don't work because for whatever reason, you have to get this release from your bank to allow you to actually spend money in another state. So sometimes people can have plenty of money and they'll go somewhere else and their card declines and it has nothing to do with them not having money. It's just because the bank situation's crap.
Right? I'm like, okay. He's like, well, let's see if we can get it cleared up. So he types in all the information or whatever, and now I got to swipe the card again, right? So I tap the card, nothing happens, right? So I'm standing there waiting. So the lady next to him, I don't know her name, she's like, oh, you got to swipe a card. I said, I just tapped the card. What are y'all talking about?
Angry Man, calm down. Your name's Angry Man. Just relax. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they don't have the right systems. Sometimes I pull up to the gas station and they don't have the tap working. You got the little thing with the little dot. Never glows. It never fills up because the thing doesn't work. So you end up still having to stick your card inside the damn thing. And I didn't want to do that because you know why? I'm lazy and I didn't want to have to press 2 more buttons. That was the whole convenience of the tap pay. But that's just because we're crappy humans now and we suck.
Oh, well, it didn't go through. So I tap it again, right? So this time it goes through, right?
It just probably means that they tapped the wrong part of the key reader. Probably tapped the bottom instead of the top. Sometimes you're supposed to tap it on the left and not the top, or on the screen instead of to the bottom right. There's specific spots where it's going to highlight green all the way across. Just saying.
It goes through, and then Leslie says to me, oh, there it is. It finally went through.
Now, I'm not going to lie. I have been Leslie in this situation. I have said the exact same thing. But the truth is, it did just go through. And the person that I was using, they were on like their 4th card. So it was kind of one of those things like, oh, there we go. But they were also trying to scam us too.
Like, bro, you doing the most right now, right? I know it went through the first time. And the reason why is because when I was getting ready to leave, there were 2 charges. There was the initial charge where they held a certain amount of money. And then there was a second charge where they charged the whole thing. Keep in mind, I hadn't checked out yet.
Now, I will say sometimes that does happen. It's rare, but it does actually happen. It's just sometimes you get that first charge where it has the incidentals and your first night stay, and if for whatever reason it charges you for the whole rest of the stay. I don't understand why that happens in the system sometimes. Usually it happens because the desk clerk is working too fast and they click a button that they didn't mean to click, and you can't go backwards because once it starts processing, it's over. Like, it's going to process that money, and if you got it, they're taking it. So it's kind of an accident sometimes, but it doesn't sound like that's what the case was this time. Sometimes it's just like they charged you again for no reason. And sometimes, I don't know, depending on the agent, they could just be being a dick.
So why are there 2 charges? That doesn't even make sense to me. But I don't know how the inner workings of their stuff go on. But all I know is I didn't have that issue before, right?
And I get his frustration because you don't want to go to this place and where you've always had a good experience and everything's worked a certain way every time. But when you start updating policies, things change. People go through different systematic, changes, and quite frankly, it just doesn't go as smoothly as you'd like. Sometimes things happen. There's errors. They charge you too much money, but they can always give you the money back. And that's the thing is, it's not like you can ever get it back, but it's also an inconvenience. Say if you're on a budget and you sort of like, okay, during the pandemic, everybody kept trying to come into town for whatever reason in Nashville and kept trying to ball on a budget. It's like everybody got their stimulus check and thought they got like $18,000 instead of $1,200. It's one of those things like they come in and they like, oh man, just make sure you don't, please make sure you only charge that first night deposit. It's like, why did y'all come in here broke anyway? Like, don't do that. You shouldn't travel here on edge. You need to travel with money to spare. That's usually when you should travel. Don't just be traveling to be traveling and then come back home broke. Like, what good is that? I don't understand, but let's hear more.
He says to me, he's like, okay, so 2 cards. And he pulls out, the card keys for the door or whatever. And I said, look, Leslie, I don't want the 2 cards. I want the digital card on my phone to work.
Now, I may be jumping the gun, but he needs to be a little understanding here. Now, what's happening here is probably the fact that the desk agent got out these 2 key cards. It's probably because them digital keys ain't been working for a while. It wasn't just today. It was probably all week. Or they definitely knew about this going into today and they didn't fix it. Probably talked to management. They bailed. They weren't there. They weren't responsible. They just said, screw this. I'm out.
Why is that not working? He said, well, once I check you in, it'll work. Now he's really getting the attitude with me, right?
Yeah, I could see him getting an attitude here. Not angry, man, the other guy. Leslie. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cut today's video short right here. Now, don't worry, I'm going to have part 2 released literally later today. So if you want to see the rest, just, come back to the channel here shortly and you'll get to see the rest. The second half is a lot more interesting. Basically, what he experiences gets a lot deeper and a lot more stupid. So hopefully you enjoyed this part today. Like, share, and subscribe, yada, yada, yada. We'll see you soon.